Hey guys, welcome to chessroots.com. Okay, today in this live class, I'm going to show you a game which was played between Naiditsch and Viswanathan Anand in Grenke Chess Classic 2013. This was Anand in this game. He's playing black and won the game. Okay, e4, c5, knight f3, d6, bishop b5. Bishop d7, bishop into d7, queen into d7. Knight into d7 can also be played, but queen into d7 is very good, better than knight into d7. c4 is trying to play hedgehog system. The main idea of this system is he won't allow to play d5 move. Knight f6, knight c3, g6, g6 and bishop g7 is forced in view of this bishop cannot be developed like playing e6 and bishop e7, where this d6 pawn will be permanently weak after opening d4. So d4, c into d4, knight into d4, bishop g7 and castle. Okay, I think in this position castling is little dubious, I feel, because after knight c6, black is forced to play knight e2 or even more like knight into c6. The reason why this is castling is little dubious because if you play knight d2, for example, queen e6, now c4 and e4 are under attack. If you play knight d5, which was played in the game, queen into e4, and I'll show the game later why it is mistake. So before castling, white could simply play a move like f3. The reason why f3 is played because to support the pawn on e4, and the other thing is if he plays a move knight c6, he can simply play bishop e3. Before that move, if you do castling and knight c6, now bishop e3 is not there in view of knight g4. Attacking this bishop on e3 and this knight on d4. So here he did castling and knight c6, knight d2, knight de2, queen e6, knight d5. Now here an interesting exchange sacrifice, queen into e4, where black is getting two pawns, knight c7 check, king d7, knight into a8, queen into c4. Now immediately if black plays a move like rook into a8, he can push the pawn c5. So queen into c4 is also forced. Knight c3, rook into a8. Also knight b6 will be a doubled pawn, and there will be a weakness of b5 square. Bishop g5, e6, rook e1. This position rook e1 is also a little doubtful. I think rook e1 is much simpler than rook c1, supporting this c3, and can also discover by playing knight e4, bishop into f6. For example, rook c1. Now the idea is bishop f6, knight e4, and d6 and f6 will be under attack. You can even play sometimes a move like knight c5. So knight d5. Now black is simply trying to go an endgame. The reason why black is trying to go an endgame because this position the king is in the center, black king is on d7, and white if white keeps more pieces, then it is more problem for black. The king is in the center and can be opened anytime, so black needs to exchange his pieces. Knight into d5, queen into d5. So he simply wants to go to an endgame. Queen into d5, e into d5, rook a d1, h6, bishop c1, d4. d4 is the only way to support this pawn. Rook d3. I think rook d3 is also a mistake because rook d3, the idea is to play rook d3 or rook b3 or rook a3, which is not good, which is not so effective. Here I prefer to play b3. The idea is simply to play bishop b2 and attacking this pawn on d4. It cannot be pushed to d3. So for example, it cannot be pushed to d3. And the other thing is this knight and bishop on g7 are forced to support this d4, and there is no entry for this rook on a8. So after b3, bishop b2, all the three black pieces are tied up to support d4, and there is no entry for this rook. So this position should be a little better for white in view of this just blockade of his pieces. So we play rook d3, rook c8, rook b3, b6, king f1, knight e5, rook a3, a5, b4, rook c2, b into a5, ba5, rook into a5, knight d3, rook a7 check, king c6, rook into. These all moves are almost forced, and there is no one can do much about these moves. Knight into e1, king into e1, rook into c1, king d2, rook g1, rook into g7, rook into g2, king e1, rook into h2. Now black landed in a endgame position where he is clearly losing. King d2, a5. Now he cannot play king d3 and king into pawn, because this pawn will reach till a2 and give check and make it queen. So for example, king d3, a4, king into pawn, a3, king here, a2. He needs to protect this, or he have to move this king. If he moves the king, he will be playing rook anywhere, and that pawn will become queen. So if you protect with rook, you will give check and make this pawn queen. So after h5, black is forced to play rook h6, h4, a4, h3, a5, h2, a6, king c7. Now this is one important good move, because black simply don't want to give this pawn with a check and support this a6. So king c7, the idea is simply by playing king b8, or if you push a7, king b7, you cannot take rook into d6. He'll play rook h1 and make this pawn as queen. So king c7 is one more important move Rook a7 check, rook h7 check, king b8, king e2, d3. Now he cannot grab this pawn in view of rook d1 check and queen. So king into d2, king a8. Now white is in jujwa. He played some moves, but this was forced to lose this position. Okay, king c4, and now after king e4, white really don't have any moves, so here is it. This was a very good gameplay between Naiditsch and Viswanathan Anand in Grenke Class Classic 2013. Hope you enjoy the game. See you in the next live update. Please don't forget to subscribe and please leave your comments.